Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time you are connected to this video. I'm super excited for yet another episode of the Lady of Essence webinar. Woo! So, tonight, like you can see on the screen, I'll be talking to you about building a healthy relationship with yourself. You see, I realized that a lot of people, focus on building relationship with people, how to have a lasting relationship with people. They pour into others that they forget to pour into themselves. We lay much emphasis on building relationship with people, and we do not really get to you know put much value into building relationship with ourselves. And that's why tonight's session is so dear to my heart. So thank you for tuning in. To those of you who are joining me live, thank you. So you can let me know where you are watching, joining me from. Yeah, you can let me know where you're watching, joining me from. Yes, so like I said, tonight's session is one that is so dear to my heart. Building a healthy relationship with yourself. And clear. The relationship you have with yourself will set the tone for every other relationship. I'll take that again. The relationship you have with yourself will set the tone for every other relationship. And that is why it is very important that you build a healthy relationship with yourself. It is very important. Okay, now I'm talking about building a healthy relationship with yourself. When we talk about relationship, what is that thing that is common? It is connection. Because the truth of the matter is, when there is no connection, then there is no relationship. You can't be in a relationship, right, that you do not feel connected to. So there has to be that connectivity for you to be sure that you are actually in, a healthy relationship. There has to be connectivity. And here I'm talking about building a healthy relationship with yourself. So it means you need to get to that point where you are connected with yourself. And then I said LD. You see, building a healthy relationship with yourself, there are two common factors there: healthy and relationship. For the relationship, I said it has to do with connection. Then healthy, when we say something is healthy, it means it is, free from toxicity. It means that, it is well nourished. It means it is full of life. I remember when I was working in a hospital, as a pharmacist. That was before I got married, and 8% of the people who come to the hospital, they are actually, they are unhealthy. Like me looking at them, and when I get to check them in their wards, on their bed, you realize that they are not full of life. So that is what happens when something is unhealthy. It is not full of life. It's, looks, it doesn't look well nourished, right? So it is very important that you have a healthy relationship with yourself, one that is well nourished, one that is full of life, one that is well nourished, one that is full of life. So what does it mean to have a healthy relationship, to build a healthy relationship? So it's all about, how you relate to yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you carry yourself, how you see yourself, how you relate to yourself, how you carry yourself, how you talk to yourself. That is, what building a healthy relationship entails. So why do you need to? It sets the tone for every other relationship. So what do I mean by that? The way you actually, project yourself to the world, it is the same way people would mirror it to you. So the way you carry yourself, it is the same way people are going to, relate with you. But when you get to that point where you've built a healthy relationship with yourself, there is a manner and way in which you'll be able to carry yourself. There is a way you'll be able to, you'll be able to project yourself to the world such that people would not just, take it for granted. So another reason why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it protects your mental and emotional health. Because in building a healthy relationship with yourself, thank you for joining. You can let me put this in the comment section. Let me know where you're joining me from. So in building a healthy relationship with yourself, you know, you get to that point where you understand the place of boundary. Like I said, the number two reason why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it protects your mental and emotional health. You get to that point where you are able to prioritize what is essential. You are able to say no to what it's not important to you. So that is one of the things you get to enjoy from having and building a healthy relationship with yourself. Another reason why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it helps you break the cycle of people pleasing. It helps you break the cycle of people pleasing. You see, let me tell you something. A lot of people feel like you need to you need to be responsive to everybody's needs. A lot of you feel if you have not paid attention to somebody's needs, then you've not done the right thing. I remember, for me, then years ago, when people, come to me and they're like, Sandra, I need you to do this for me. I need you to do this for me. Even if it was going to cost me, I would say, yes, I'm available. Until I got to realize that, come on, I can't keep living this way. I can't keep living this way. And then I was able to say yes to things. I was able to say no to things. I knew that these are the things I needed to say yes to, and these are the things I needed to say no to. So, one of the reasons why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it would help you break the cycle of people pleasing. And that is why a lot of people, emerge in a false identity because you are trying to conform into a reality that the world has created for you. So in building a healthy relationship with yourself, you will be able to show up authentically. You'll be able to show up with your true self. So that is another reason why you need to build a healthy self-esteem, because it helps you break the cycle of people pleasing. It helps you break the cycle of people pleasing. Then another reason why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself, it is because it is God's will for you. The Bible was speaking in the book of Mark chapter 12 and verse 31. It says, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So it means that it is God's will for you to love yourself, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. How are you even loving yourself? So it means that it is until you are able to love yourself, that is when you can actually pour out that same love to people. So can you see that in fact, you building a healthy relationship is not majorly for your sake. It is also because of the people and the connection attached to your life. And that's why you need to take building a healthy relationship with yourself important. You need to take it very seriously. So now, how can you build a healthy relationship with yourself? This is that point I'm excited to get into. How can you build a healthy relationship with yourself? Number one, it starts from self-awareness. See, a lot of people are actually not alive in their world because we are more of I want to do this for this person, I want to do this for this person, and it feels like you do not even exist in your own world. So, how can you build a healthy relationship with yourself? You need to be self-aware. Get to know yourself. Get to know your values. Pay attention to your soul, your body, your mind. Get to know what is going on inside of you. For a lot of persons here, you might actually be having a lot of baggages that is still in you, and that is the reason why it is weighing you down. So you need to get to that point where you get to that root. What is that thing that is slowing you down? What is that thing that is slowing you down? What is that past horse that you are yet to let go of? Get to know the roots of those things that are like baggages, that are like heavy load to you. Get to know them. And you know one thing you can do for yourself, you cannot change the hands of time, but you can actually control your responses to it. So what you need to do is to forgive yourself. If peradventure you were the one who even made the mistake in the past and those mistakes are haunting you now, you need to let go of those mistakes. You need to let go of the past. But most importantly is that you pick the lessons. What are those things you didn't do well? Now is the time for you to do better. Pick the lessons and move on. It is very important. Pick the lessons and move on. So it is very important that you are self-aware of what is going on the inside of you. You are self-aware of what is going on the inside of you. You need to get to know get to know yourself. Pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to yourself. It is very important. It is very important. Know your area of strength. Know your area of weaknesses. Where is that place that you are actually struggling with? Where is that place you're actually struggling with? People have that thing of, I want to do this myself. I don't want, that's that thing of being a strong lady. It doesn't exist. Where you need help, ask for help. Be self-aware to a point that you get to know that, come on, I am in this state that I know that I cannot do this by myself. There is no harm in reaching out to people. I remember a lady who reached out to me, that was on Facebook, and then she said she was having a downtime and she just needed someone to talk to. And guess what? I was able to tell her a lot of things, and then she got the zeal that she needed. But imagine if she had not reached out for help. So you need to be self-aware of what is going on around you, self-aware of what is going on the inside of you. That is one way to build a healthy relationship with yourself. Another thing you need to pay attention to, it is self-love. It is self-love. And I'm not, there is a healthy kind of self-love and there is an unhealthy kind of self-love. So when I mean self-love, it just goes to show you, how much of, the kind of self-love Jesus has. Because imagine, even when we were yet sinners, he died for us. So that is the kind of self-love I am talking about. The one that doesn't bring others down. The one that doesn't tear others down. So that is the kind of self-love I'm talking about. When we say self-love, people are like, no, I will prioritize myself. Yes, you need to prioritize yourself. But in prioritizing yourself, all the people attached to you are not suffering for it. So there is a place for balance. There is a place for balance. So you need to get to that point where you embrace, self-love, where you embrace compassion. Many of you tend to forgive people easily, but you do not tend to forgive yourself easily. You keep beating yourself. Why did I do this? Why I should have done this better? I should have done this. I should have done that. As much as you have compassion on people, show that compassion to yourself. You keep pouring to others, but you forget to pour into yourself. You pour that love to people, you pour that grace to people, you pour that compassion to people, but you do not pour that same measure of compassion to yourself. It is very important. Self-love. Self-love. See, I know of someone that can buy things for people but doesn't remember to buy for herself. That is not self-love. You should get to that point. Once you've collected your salary, there is one clothes you are looking like at. I'm like, God, I love this gown. If it is within your means, try to get it, at least, even if it is once in a while. Look good. It is a way of building an healthy relationship with yourself. Practice that self-love. Come on, I love it a lot. I love to look good. It is part of self-love. It is part of self-love. As much as you pour into others, practice pouring into yourself. Practice pouring into yourself. It is very, very important in building an healthy relationship. Practice pouring into yourself. Practice pouring into yourself. And another thing you need to, embrace in building a healthy relationship, look at yourself. What are those things you long for people to do for you? Start practicing it. What is that thing you wish someone can do for you? What is that thing? Look at yourself. Okay, what is your love language? Practice that love language for yourself. Start doing it for yourself. Many people, they keep holding on to when someone is going to is going to reach out to them. Why not reach out to yourself? Get to that point where it is you and you conversation. You're having that you and you conversation, and it's just solely you and you, no distraction. Many of you are waiting for when a friend is going to catch up with a date, let's go have some fun. Why not get to a point where you're like, come on, you know what, I want to have a date with myself. So what is that thing that you are longing to have people do for you? Begin to do it for yourself. This is something I practice, and that is why you should see. See, when you practice this, even if people do not call you to go have fun, you won't feel disappointed because you've put so much love in yourself that whether or not someone calls you, you do not even feel it. So it is very important that you practice that self-love. What is that thing you are longing from people? What is that thing you are longing, to see people do for you? Begin to do it for yourself. Begin to do it for yourself. It is very important in building a healthy self, a healthy relationship with yourself. It is very important. So another thing you need to, it is aligning purposefully. Aligning purposefully. So once you are self-aware, you know what that will do to you. It helps you understand your area of passion. It helps you understand your area of strength. It helps you understand your area of strength. And it is in building a healthy relationship with yourself, that is when you get to understand that you cannot take away a relationship with Jesus. That is where you get to understand that you cannot take away intimacy with Jesus, because it is from intimacy with Jesus that you get to understand your purpose, that you get to understand where God has called you to fulfill, that you get to understand your place of assignment. And this is something I have done that it has helped me in no small way. Having a personal relationship with Jesus, because that is where you can actually know where He has called you to fulfill. That is where you can know your purpose. So, in building a healthy relationship with yourself, you cannot take away intimacy with Jesus, aligning with purpose. It is very important. So, now, like I said, you need to be what? In building a healthy relationship with yourself, you need to be self aware. You need to be self aware. Get to know yourself. Pay attention to yourself. What are those, just get to know, what are those things that you are actually, suffering from? Know the roots. Know the roots. What are those things you are you are battling with, that you know that it is actually weighing you down? A lot of you, because of these baggages that you are carrying, that's why you cannot even build relationship with people. Okay, let's not even talk about with people, how much more yourself. And these baggages are what is weighing a lot of people down. Is what is it weighing a lot of people down? They are still holding on to the things of the past, and that is why they keep just imagine yourself on a journey and you are carrying a heavy bag. Just imagine it for a while. You realize that you are not able to move freely because something is weighing you down, something is holding you down. So that is how it is when you are still holding on to your past mistakes. You are still holding on to odds. You are still holding on to things of the past. And like I said, you do not have the power to change the past, but you have the power to control your responses. So right now, what are those things you need to let go of? You need to be intentional about it. Because for you to have a healthy relationship with yourself, it starts from you being self-aware and being intentional about letting go of these things. And one way to let go is to accept that yes, you've done this mistake. Yes, you know what, I've done this mistake, but I need to move on for my sake. I need to move on because you can't even fulfill purpose when you're still holding on to the things of the past, when you're still holding on to things that are weighing you down, when you're still holding on to those luggages. So you need to get to that point where you're intentional about putting those luggages aside and forgive yourself. Now you know better. Because what you did at the time was as a result of the level of the knowledge you had. But now you know better. You can choose to do better. Take assessments. What were those things you wish you could have done that you didn't do? Now is the time for you to do better. So self-awareness, it is key. It is very important. Self-awareness, it is key. And then another thing I said, it is self-love. You need to practice self-love. As much as you pour into others, learn to pour into yourself. When your friend is doing birthday, I see how you just want to try to send gifts across. You just want to be a part of the person's day. Also try to be a part of your own day. Buy yourself a birthday gift. You are doing yourself good. Buy yourself, shower yourself with that love you are pouring into others. Shower yourself with it. I said at the earlier time, what are those things you long for people to do for you? Try to practice it yourself. Try to practice it. Those things you long for people to do for you. You love people buying you gifts. You love people spending time with you. Begin to spend that quality time with yourself. Begin to spend that quality time with yourself. So that is what healthy self-love is. Unhealthy self-love is when you are okay, you are maybe you are in a midst of people, and then they gave you something to share. But because maybe you are the one that financed all of those things, and then you said no, you are going to take more than you're going to give the rest, because you want to practice self-love. That is selfishness. That is not self-love. You need to understand that balance in self-love, such that people people are not suffering for your actions. So there is a need for balance. There is a need for balance. So when you are practicing self-love, you need to also you know that yes, you do this for people, also do it for yourself. So the my main point emphasis on this self-love is, as much as you pour into others, learn to pour into yourself. Don't wait for someone to pour into you. Begin to do that for yourself, because you are a valuable person. You are deserving of it. So begin to pour into yourself. Buy that clothes that you have been eyeing. Buy that clothes for yourself. Dress well, look good. Practice self-hygiene. It is self-love. Whatever it is you are designed to see in people, choose to be it. Choose to become it. That is self-love. What you are demanding people from people, do it. Practice it yourself. Practice it yourself. You pour into others, begin to pour into yourself. It is very, very important. Begin to pour into yourself. Don't just exist in your own world. Be present. Be present in your world. Be present. It is very important. So, in building a healthy relationship with yourself, one thing I mentioned is you need to be self-aware, right? You need to be self-aware, where you get to know yourself, where you get to pay attention to yourself. You understand your values, and it is when you understand your values, that is when you can set these boundaries. For me, growing up, I had boundaries, and I was unapologetic about it. There is a particular time I received calls from the opposite sex. I remember at the time, in fact, it's not even that I still do it now, like especially the opposite gender. You can't call me once it is past 10. Like, you cannot call me once it is past 10. Like, that is one boundary that I kept for myself. And it is because I have understood and work in that place of building a healthy relationship with myself. I am self-aware of my values. I am self-aware of the boundaries that I needed to put in place to have a strong value system. So I remember, see, you can't call me by 10. In fact, they know what I remember. Someone had to send me a message the next morning, and the person was like, Sandra, I'm so sorry. I was actually to call you yesterday, but I realized it was already past 10. And so I thought to, call you the next day. Mm-hmm. So see, some of you will set boundaries, but you won't stick to it. You are not consistent with your boundary. Today you are saying this is your boundary. Tomorrow you are doing another thing. How do you want people to respect your boundary? And as much as you want people to respect your boundary, you also need to respect people's boundary. So what are those boundaries you've put in place for yourself? So in building a healthy relationship with yourself, it is very important that you practice that boundary keeping. You need to set boundary. You need to set boundary. Where you need to, what are your values? What are the places that you know that because of your value system you cannot be in those places? Because of your value system, you can't be in the in some certain meetings. Because of your value system, there are some music you cannot even listen to. There are some movies you cannot watch. So check yourself again. What are your values? You need to become self-aware. You need to become self-aware such that you are able to identify some areas that you like, the areas that you know you should not step your feet into. So it is very important that you are self-aware. You need to be self-aware. That is one thing that has really helped me. I was self aware. I knew my values and I wasn't going to compromise it for anything. I wasn't going to compromise it for anything. So that self awareness is key. And then I mentioned about self love. Self love, I thought about how that you need to begin to practice self love. It is very key. It is before I remember then I would be like, how can I use this amount of money to get this? Oh, no, 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 I will save it till when I have the big money. But let me tell you something, you don't have to wait to have the big money before you start buying things for yourself. You don't have to. You see, I tell you something, sometimes it doesn't really cost much for you to look put together. It's just about packaging. It's just about packaging. I'm telling you, because some people can get to buy the most expensive thing and they won't even know how to combine it together. And at the end of the day, what's the point when you don't know color combination? So you need to practice self-love. Buy things for yourself that that you know that okay, this thing is within your means. Buy them. Buy those things for yourself. That thing you are eyeing that you want someone to buy for you. Before one boyfriend will buy for you, try to buy for yourself. Before that boyfriend will check up on you, check up on yourself. It is self-love. I do this a lot where I don't just want anyone to talk to me. I just want to be on my own. I just enjoy that solitude, and that, you see, when you practice this, you are able to know what is going on in your own world. It helps you to not just mere exist. It helps you to be present in your own world. So you see, this is something you need to begin to practice, where you yourself and yourself alone is just alone in that room. That is self-love. It is not every time you'll be chatting with somebody on WhatsApp. It is not every time they call you, let's go party, you are going. No, it is not every time. That's why there's a need for you to put boundaries in place. Know when you need to go out, know when you need to be at home, know when you need to take a book to read, know when you need to pray, such that when people call you and it is your prayer time, you are able to tell them, you know what, I actually wish I could go, but at this time I need to do this. But when you are not even, practicing self-love, when they tell you let's do this, you will answer. Let's go here, you would answer. No, you can't keep living life that way. Remember, building a healthy relationship with yourself will set the tone for every other relationship. And that's why you need to be intentional about building a healthy relationship with yourself. So self-awareness is very important. Self-love, practice self-love. You some of you, like, you are just so compassionate with people. People would hurt you, they will say words to you. It would, you would get to forgive them, but for you it will take you time. You keep thinking, I wish I did this, I wish I did this. If I knew, I would not have done this. If I knew, I would have done this. I would have. For how long will you keep beating your head around all this? For how long? For how long will you keep beating yourself? So it is very important that you extend that same measure of compassion to yourself. That same measure of compassion to yourself. And in practicing self love, I mentioned that it is okay to ask for help. It might not be financial help, You might not be financial up, but you know within yourself that there are some areas where you do not have capacity for. So look for people, in your faith that actually as that have the capacity to do this. Reach out to them. Reach out to them for help. There is no crime in reaching out to people for help. For some of you, it could be in the area of maybe your purpose. You need to find clarity in something, and you are just, I really need to have understanding in this area of my life. So you can reach out to people, especially people that they are trustworthy. You can reach out to them. That's where you are practicing self-love. Self-love is not, that is self-love, when you know that you are struggling to get some things done. You don't know how to put this together, and okay, there is someone somewhere that can actually do this. That is that point where you need to reach out to that person. But some people will tell you they don't know how to ask for help. Me, see, I used to be like that. I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know, but I understand that there are some things that I might not be able to do, but someone somewhere can do it. And so I am humble enough to be self aware, to know that, come on, you know what, Sandra, you can't keep staying this way. Reach out to this person. Reach out to this person. Like I said, it has to be someone who is trustworthy. Someone who is trustworthy. So put it in the chat. Let me know what you are gaining. Let me know what you are learning. Let me know what you are learning from this webinar. Yeah, so like I said, it is okay to ask for help. There is no harm in asking for help. There is no harm. There is no harm in asking for help. Yes. And so in building a healthy relationship with yourself, I mentioned that you cannot outrule the place of intimacy with God. You cannot outrule it. Because the moment you become self-aware, you are able to understand, the dimensions that God would have you operate in this world. You are able to understand the dimensions that we would have you operate in this world. And so because of that level of intimacy that you are having with God, then your eyes is already opening to that dimension that He actually wants you to operate in. So in practicing self-love, you need to partner with God. You need to partner with Jesus. You need to, partner with Him, where you have that moment of, intimacy with Him, where you have that moment of bonding with God. You need to have that moment of intimacy with Jesus. You cannot outrule it. It's not possible. You cannot. You cannot. So yeah, in building, like I said, it's see, you need to be self-aware. See that I'm repeating it because this is like the whole highlight of my message tonight. You need to be self-aware. You need to practice self-love. It is very important, and you also need to align purposefully, because it is, see, all of these things, they are actually processes. From self-awareness, that is when you know your values, you know your area of strength, you know your area of weaknesses, and it is because of that self-love you are, intentional about working purposefully. You're intentional about, not just mere existing in this world, but that you are intentionally living in this world. And one of the ways to intentionally live is by, working in line with God's purpose for your life. And how would you do this? By you building yourself, through reading books, listening to podcasts related to, the area that God has assigned you to fulfill in this world. So it is very, very important. So let me know if you've gained value from this session. You can put it in the chat box. Put it in the chat box. Put it in the comment section. Let me know what you've gained. Let me know what you are going to do better. So I just want to do a little recap before we end it for tonight. So like I said, in building a healthy relationship with yourself, it's basically, how you relate with yourself, how you carry yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you see yourself, and like I said, in building a healthy relationship with yourself, you are the number one factor there. A lot of us, we are so bent on building relationship with people. I want to have inner circle, that you forget to build a relationship with yourself. And it is the healthy relationship we have with yourself that will set the tone for every other healthy relationship that you really desire in people. And reasons why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it sets the tone for healthy relationship, for every other healthy relationship. Because if the foundation is not actually strong, you won't be able to have, healthy relationship with people. So another reason I said you need to build a healthy relationship is that it protects your mental and your emotional health. It protects because you are able to prioritize things well accurately. You are able to say no when you need to say no. You are able to say yes where you need to say yes. You are able to set boundaries. You are able to put boundaries in place such that people know that at this point in time you are engaged with this. They are not calling you at this point in time. They know that you can't go to one party at this point in time. They know that once I call her, come on, she's doing this once. And that's why it is very important that you set your boundary and communicate it effectively. Don't be on and off. Today you set one boundary, tomorrow you are off. And I shared my example earlier on how I was intentional about building, setting boundaries, putting boundaries in place. I have times, once it is past then, like especially the opposite sex, I won't pick calls. I won't pick video call. No, 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 I won't. Those were the boundaries I put in place for myself because of the standard I had. Those were the so for some of you, you need to be self-aware. What are those, values you have? What are those boundaries you need to put in place so you can put yourself in check? So another reason why I said it is very important to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it helps you break the cycle of people pleasing. Some people are yet to break free from that cycle of people pleasing. They just want to be there. It's fine to be there for people, but hope it is not at your own detriment. A lot of you just want to please people so they will love you. You want to please people so they will like you, so they will embrace you. See, that is why you need to love yourself first. Because when you've showered yourself with abundance of love, see, even if the people who are loving you are not really many, it will not really hurt you because you've poured love, you've poured a greater amount of love into yourself such that whether or not you are getting love from people, it is not affecting you. And that is the level I really want you to get into. And as a result of people pleasing, for some of you, you don't know how to, is it go for night parties, but because you want to please your friend, you are trying to make her your friend, and so she calls you, boom, you are preparing to follow. So it is in building healthy relationship with yourself, that is when you get to realize that there are some things that it is a no because you are self-aware to your values. You are not just mere existing in your own world. You are present. You are fully present in your world. So that boundary setting, it is very important. That boundary setting, it is very, very important. It is very important, especially if you want to protect yourself. Because one thing boundaries will do for you, it is there to protect you. It is there to protect you. So another reason I said why you need to build a healthy relationship with yourself is that it is God's will for you. When the Bible was saying love you love see that you should love your neighbor the way you love yourself. God knew what he was saying. Love your neighbor as yourself. It means that the way you love yourself is the same way you expected to love your neighbor. So even God knew that you need to practice self-love because you can't pour from an empty cup. So how are you fueling your self-love? How are you fueling that love that you really deserve? How are you fueling it? Are you waiting on other people to fuel it for you? So this is a charge for you to begin to fuel your love. What are those things you long for people to do for you? Begin to do them. Begin to practice it. Begin to practice it. What is your love language? You hear people say my love language is attention, my love language is gifts. My love language is gifts. Begin to buy that gift for yourself. It doesn't have to be something elaborate. It might just be something that is affordable. And guess what? You'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. So whatever it is that you are longing for people to do to you, begin to practice it, begin to do it for yourself. That way you are cultivating a healthy relationship with yourself. Because if you can't even buy for yourself, how will you buy for people? So it starts from you. It starts from you. And I mentioned earlier on that one of the reasons why a lot of people are actually battling and struggling with building a healthy relationship with themselves, it is because they have this brokenness on the inside of them. Some of them are still holding on to past hurts, they are still holding on to the things of the past, they are still holding on to, all of those baggages. And see, it is high time. See, this is a time where you need to let go of those baggages, because it will weigh you down. The Bible was saying that all things are passed away and God has made all things new. You are a new creation in Christ. That is your reality. So all those baggages, all those mistakes you've done in the past, they belong to the past. You do not belong to the past. Now you are in the present. What would not be more important is what you will do in your future. So now is the time to let go of those baggages. Now is the time to let go of those faults and be fully present. Forgive yourself. That is self-love. You tend to forgive people. You forgive people easily, but yourself, you keep like wallowing. I wish I didn't do this. I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do this. For how long will you keep? I wish. Forgive yourself. You deserve it. Forgive yourself. Like I said, you cannot turn back the hands of time. But what you will do this time is what matters. And I tell you, what you will do this time, see, yeah, your future self will thank you. But imagine you are keep holding on to the things to the things of the past. You're still holding on to baggages. You won't be able to move freely. You won't. And that is not self-love. So whatever is those things you give to people, begin to give it to yourself. That compassion you give to people, that forgiveness you give to people, that act of service you give to people, that attention you give to people. Now is the time for you to pay attention to yourself. Don't cloud yourself with too much activities that you forget to actually be in tune, in alignment with your own world. As much as you want to be there for people, be there for yourself as well. Be there for yourself. It is very important. I do not joke with this, so I do not. I see, like I said, I have time where I just sit. It is me and me having that conversation. And guess what? At that point, you get to realize the areas you are actually lagging behind, because you are being fully present in your own world. So be intentional about having that one-on-one conversation with yourself. It is not every time they call you to go out you will be available. It is not everywhere they call you to go you should be available to go, especially if it is not in line with where you are going to in the future. That's why you need to be self-aware. What are your values? So it is in the area of your values that you are able to know that, okay, these are the things you need to put more energy into. These are the things that you need to detach yourself from. Me, I've been very intentional with even my friends, with the kind of friends I move with the kind of people I let into my circle. How was I able to do this? Because I had standards for myself, because I had values. I have, systems that was guiding my decisions. So you can't keep living life by guessing, all of those stuff. No, you cannot. So this is that time where, as a lady, you need to be intentional about having the right value system. You need to be intentional about letting go of the things of the past. There is nobody that has not, maybe made mistake one way or the other. It might not be delicate, right? It might not be as big as every other person's, but at some point in time, and that's why we are human. We are not perfect, but we are all trying to work towards perfection in Christ. And so you need to give yourself grace. You need to forgive yourself. You need to also have compassion on yourself. As much as you would have compassion on people, have compassion on yourself. Many people, you see, they are always there for their friends, but when it gets to their own turn, they are not there for themselves. You need to begin to practice being there for yourself. That is self-awareness. That is self-love. You are aware of what you are lacking, and you are practicing self-love enough to know that you also need to shower yourself with that thing that you are lacking. You are not waiting for people to shower you with it. Instead, you are taking the initiative, and that's way you won't even feel broken, because even if people are not meeting up to that standard, at least you are meeting up to that standard for yourself. At least you are meeting up to that standard for yourself. Look good. Be intentional about how you carry yourself. Be intentional about body carriage. That is self love. Be intentional about body carriage. It is self love. It is self love. You need to show up better for yourself. Please yourself. I was saying a lot of people, they tend to please people. People pleaser, because you want people to like you, want people to love you. Please yourself. Please yourself. Instead of pleasing people, please your own self too. Please yourself. It is very important. Some of you will sacrifice for people, and those people will be like, wow, thank you for the level of sacrifice. But you are not sacrificing enough for yourself. You are not sacrificing enough for your own self. So there has to be that balance. See, the day I understood that balance, I remain grateful to God, because I was always pouring into people. I was always pouring into people. But as much as I was pouring into people, I wasn't pouring as much to myself. But thankfully, I am now doing this from a place of balance. If I'm checking on you, I am also checking on myself. If I'm calling you, I'm also calling myself. If I'm helping you to carry out a particular task, I'm also ensuring that I am helping myself to carry out a task. So building a healthy relationship starts with you. It starts with you. You need to be intentional about building a healthy relationship with yourself. Remember, this sets the tone for every other relationship you would have. So what is that thing you are longing for people to do to you? You're longing for people to, to help you with. Begin to practice it your by your own self. Begin to practice it. So that is self-love. So in building a healthy relationship, remember, like I said, you need to be what? You need to be self-aware. You need to be self-aware. You need to practice self-love. And you also need to be aligned with your purpose. You need to be aligned with your purpose. And how can you be aligned with your purpose? You cannot be aligned with your purpose when you are still carrying, heavy load on the inside of you. You cannot be aligned. You cannot be aligned with your purpose when you still have hurts you are battling with. So now is the time for you to let go of those hurts. See, some of you, you need to call that person now and say, I have forgiven you, just so you can be free, because you have a destiny to fulfill, and you can't allow one alt of 5 years ago to keep alting you, to keep limiting you. A lot of you are not even where you should be today. You are supposed to have gone beyond where you are today, but because you are still holding on to those baggages, you are still holding on to those alt of the past, and that is why you are limited. You are still where you ought to have, you know you ought to have, you, like that's why you are still where you ought to have, skilled from. So let go. But in letting go, you need to check what are those areas where you actually defaulted, so that you pick up the lessons, and it will guide you on your future decisions. It will guide you on your future actions. So it is very important, because you know what? It is God's will for you that you love yourself. Because even the Bible was saying that love your neighbor as yourself. So imagine you don't know how to love yourself. How would you fulfill that scripture? How would you? And there is no excuse. So now that's why this topic, we are treating this topic tonight, because I can see the importance of it. So you need to begin to practice that self-love. Like I said, self-love is not selfishness. They can't give you maybe 10 pieces of meat and they say you should share it amongst your friends. But because you are the head, you are the leader, you are the one in charge of the distribution of the meat, and so you are taking five, and then the remaining people, you are giving them the leftovers, the remaining five, because you want to, because of self-love. No, that's not self-love. Your self-love should not be at the at the detriment of others. Like, people should not be hurt because you are practicing self-love. There has to be a balance. There has to be a balance. So yeah, so remember, I said again, in practicing self-love, you need to set healthy boundaries. You need to be aware of your values. You need to be fully present in your own world. Do not just merely exist. Practice self-love, practice self-care, practice compassion. Extend that same level of grace you give to people to yourself. Extend it to yourself. Yourself will thank you. Extend it to yourself. As much as you pay attention to people, pay attention to your own world. It is very, very important. And like I said, it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to ask for help. It is very important. It is okay to ask for help. So yeah, let me know what you've gained from this session. You can put it in the comment section, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, because there are other videos that will be coming up from time to time. So yeah, thank you for joining once again. I'll be looking forward to seeing your comments in the comment section. Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of tonight's session. Share this with your friends. You can come back again, to catch up with this video. Thank you so much, and once again, do not forget to subscribe. I remain Sandra Ovimiladeye. God bless you.